Experienced gardeners should give good advice to inexperienced gardeners. And that's what I try to do. Hi, I'm Gardener Scott, and I discuss everything gardening so that you can become a better gardener. Today's topic is my best advice for new gardeners. I have 10 pieces of advice for you today. And don't think that they're in any particular order. I consider all of them important. So absorb all 10 and use them as you move forward with your gardening journey. The first is don't compare your garden to anybody else's garden. It's very common for new gardeners to get motivated, get enthusiastic, and maybe even begin gardening because they've seen a garden that they've fallen in love with and they want to try something similar in their own landscape. Well, that's great as far as a motivation is concerned, but it's so easy as a beginning gardener to get things wrong or just not quite do things right. And your garden may not look like you expect it should at the end of the season. And the reason you think that is because you're comparing it to all of the other gardens that you've seen. Well, don't do that. Don't compare your garden to others. Compare your garden to what you have now compared to how it used to be. And in almost all cases, you're going to see improvement. That's what you should look at, is the improvement that you've made in your own garden. And you'll be able to recognize how much your gardening skills have improved by starting small. All of us should start small. And as we learn more and we get more confidence, we'll add to our gardens. We'll add more beds, add more plants, and just do more with it. Well, by the time you reach that point where you're doing a lot more, you can compare yourself to when you started small. And it's noticeable the improvements you'll make. Don't try to swing for that home run right in the beginning, because if you try to start too big, you're probably going to have a lot more failure than you anticipated. So start small and build on those successes. And before you know it, you can look back and say, yeah, I think I've got this part figured out. What can I try next? As you design and plan and build your garden and then put the plants into it, try to do a polyculture, not a monoculture. Now, a monoculture is what you see with industrial agriculture. Those are the fields and fields and fields of corn or soybean or wheat. It's the same plant for miles. Well, if you do that in your garden, you're opening yourself up to potential problems. For instance, let's say all you grow is lettuce, and then you have a particular pest that finds your garden, you're probably going to lose all of your lettuce to that pest. In a polyculture, you're mixing up the plants. So you might have some lettuce over here, and then you've got some beets over here, and then you maybe have some tomatoes, and it's all mixed up. Not only is it better for building the biodiversity within your garden, but if you've got lettuce growing over here and a pest finds it, and then you've got all these other plants spaced in between, and the other lettuce you're growing is maybe in a bed over there, well, the pests might not find that bed over there. Or when you see them on the first bed, that might give you time to react and take care of the potential problem before they find the other bed. It's much healthier to grow a great selection of plants than to focus on a whole bunch of the same kind of plants growing together. I strongly encourage you to save seeds. When you grow heirlooms and open pollinated plants, you can save the seeds and then grow that same plant year after year. Not only does it save money, but it teaches you an awful lot about gardening. Because if you save seeds, you're more likely to start those plants from seed in the next year. So you're forcing yourself to learn how to start plants from seed. And you learn how to store seeds. And you learn a lot of different aspects to gardening because you can trace this single seed that you've saved all the way through the season until it reaches the point at the end of the season when you save the seeds again. It's educational, it saves money, and it's a great activity for the entire family. After you've harvested the fruit, start harvesting the seeds. Whether you're a flower grower or a vegetable gardener or somewhere in between, consider growing edible perennials. These are the kind of plants that come back every single year. You plant them once and they're in the ground in that spot for decades. And you get to harvest part of that plant every single year. It's the kind of gift that just keeps on giving. Now, it could be something like asparagus or rhubarb, but it could also be apple trees or cherry trees, or maybe it would be something like a fruit bush. Let's say you want to grow honeyberry or currants. There are so many of these plants that just keep coming back that you should consider right away, as soon as you start gardening, to choose a place where you're going to put one of those plants. And it's almost always going to be a successful harvest. Learn to realize that not all bugs are bad. There's a lot of good insects in the garden. The one you're probably most familiar with is the ladybug. You should really be looking forward to attracting ladybugs to your garden. Not only will they take care of all the aphids you have and many other small pests, but they're just so much fun to look at and play with. When you learn about the insects in your garden, it will make you a better gardener. So don't look at a bug and think that you need to get rid of it. Instead, look at an insect and think, I need to learn about that. Learn how it's making my garden better. It took me many years to realize just how important soil is in the garden. So love your soil. Realize that soil should be alive. It should be filled with microorganisms. It should be filled with organic material. It should allow your plants to gain all the nutrients they need with very little effort from you. If you've got great soil, you can virtually eliminate fertilizers. 80% of plant problems can be traced to the soil. So if you focus your attention on building a good soil, the result will automatically be good plants. Realize the importance and love your soil. You've put your plants in the ground and you want to care for your plants, well then mulch those very same plants. A mulch is something you put on the surface, and particularly in vegetable gardens, using organic mulches can greatly benefit the soil as it breaks down. A great way to love your soil while you're loving your plants. Mulch will help retain soil moisture and keep it more consistent. It'll also keep the temperatures more consistent, the soil temperature. And that's what plants like, consistent moisture and temperature. A little bit of mulch can really improve the growth of your plant. So if you haven't done it before, you should start doing it. And if you're already doing it, well, then you might be able to benefit by doing more of it. As you move through your gardening journey, keep records along the way. Record the little things and the big things, the things that you notice, because a record is something that you can easily look back on. And it's a way that you can measure your improvement and your success. Things like edible perennials can take years before they offer fruit. Well, take a look at when you put it in the ground and record that. And now follow the calendar until that very first harvest. And then record the harvests every year as they increase. You can notice problems along the way, or maybe the impact of weather or animals. And these are all the kind of things that can make you an experienced gardener. And then if something just doesn't look right, well, you can go back in your records and realize what it was and what it should be. And you might have the perfect idea for how to fix it and make it better in the future. Records are wonderful, and it's definitely something you should do right off the bat. And as you learn things, try new things, fail, have success, whatever's happening along the way, be positive. That's one thing that makes gardeners such wonderful people. Because even when we lose an entire season, we're still positive. We still plant again the next year because we're sure the next year's going to be better. It's that positive attitude that keeps us out when it's rainy and muddy, or when there's snow on the ground, but we still walk through the garden anticipating when the plants are going to pop up through the snow. It's that positive attitude that really makes gardeners special. And you're a gardener, so be special and keep that positive attitude everywhere along the way. Now, yes, you will get discouraged along the way. It can be very hard, but the successes are worth it. And being positive can really lead to more success. If you have any questions about any of these, please let me know below and share with me your own experiences. Or if you're an experienced gardener, please share with me and the others your own advice that you've learned along the way. We can all benefit from it. Please subscribe to the GardenerScott channel to get more videos, and do click on the bell so you know when they're coming out. And I started live streaming recently, so the bell will notify you when the live stream begins on Mondays. I look forward to seeing you there. I'm GardenerScott. Enjoy gardening.